same area. The chief CBP agent of the San Diego sector warned heading into the weekend about a dramatic increase in the number of maritime smuggling attempts. Chief Patrol Agent Aaron Heitke says it's an inherently dangerous way to illegally enter the country, fueled by human smugglers who put profits above the safety of those on board. And in this case, the safety of someone as young as 15. This is the human toll that Biden's border crisis is taking. So joining me now to discuss is Congressman Brian Babin. He represents the 36th District of Texas. Thanks for being here tonight, Congressman.
Always great to be with you.
Great. So the death toll of Biden's border crisis continues to rise. Yet just last week, Biden refused to talk about it during his joint session address to Congress. And his border czar, Kamala Harris, still refuses to visit the border. Is that what's fueling this rise in dangerous human smuggling operations, such as the one we just saw off of California?
Absolutely. They just continue to incentivize. This is a public relations. This is an advertising type game. During the campaign for president, every one of those candidates that were Democrats for the presidency tried to outdo one another on having an open border. And when Biden won the election and named Kamala Harris as his vice president, these people, the word travels fast all around the world, not just to Mexico and the Northern Triangle country, but all around the world. And this is what has incentivized these people to come. And they're coming on buses, they're walking, they're flying, they're coming in boats. Any way they can get in, they know that if they can get across here, Biden is their friend. He's going to give them a permanent residency here and try to enfranchise them and get them on public services, and hopefully they'll be voting Democrat. And I think overwhelmingly, I think this is the grand strategy that the Democrats, this is why they're doing this. It's incomprehensible in any other scenario. And being down on that border and seeing the child abuse, which is all it is, to see 5,700 unaccompanied children in a facility in Donna, Texas, that shouldn't have more than 250. This is what we saw when we were down there several weeks ago. I led a tour with 13 of my colleagues from the state of Texas, and it is absolutely horrendous what we are seeing. The empowerment, Biden has empowered the cartels. They are in de facto control of our border, pure and simple.
It's very terrifying as well, because I remember under President Trump, for example, he worked with a lot of these Central American nations, their governments, to make it so that it wasn't a good idea for them to allow illegal immigrants, whether it's from their own countries or those who are trying to go through their country to get to the United States southern border. But now, of course, Biden has ripped up a lot of those old agreements that we saw between President Trump and a lot of these Central American nations. And now we're hearing from Kamala Harris herself about perhaps direct payments to these Central American nations, and she says that might stem the flow. However, doesn't that just incentivize more people to come, and now for their governments to allow it to happen?
Exactly right. You couldn't say it any better than that. They may as well just put a gigantic neon sign on our southern border and says, "Welcome, come in. We will put you on, we will take care of you, educate you, we will medicate you, we will take care of you from now on. Just come on in." That's exactly what they're doing. And listen, I'm a Christian. I have great compassion on these migrants that want to better themselves. But we are a nation of laws. And for the President of the United States to ignore his oath of office, he is supposed to be upholding the laws and the Constitution of the United States of America, and he's picking and choosing what he wants to do based on political philosophy. And he made the very first day, the first week that he was in office, he made all these executive orders, which greatly hurt a lot of Americans, put them out of work, opened up our borders, reversed a lot of great policies put into place by the Biden administration, by the Trump administration, and it's incentivized it even more. They even come across wearing Biden T-shirts. This should be the great clue to the Biden administration that, hey, this is your baby. You created this monster, and they are trying to use sleights of hand. They say, well, we got it under control now. It is not under control. The numbers may be down in some of the CBP facilities on the border, but what they're doing is facilitating the release of these to HHS we're spending $60 million a week on HHS facilities alone. And we have to quit just incentivizing illegal immigration. And because every aspect of this is a very grave danger to the United States of America. National security, crime, terrorism. There have been people that have been caught that were on the terrorist watch list. The drug cartels get paid no matter what. They bring these poor folks up here, promise them that they can get across, and if they can't pay, they pay it out on time in indentured servitude. That's what happens. And they're releasing. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic, and they're releasing illegal immigrants who are COVID positive into our country. And when they say they've got it under control, numbers may be down one week, up the next. But when they're down, it's like telling your child, clean up your room, and they just take everything and put it in the closet so you can't see it anymore. And this is what happens. And we need to put America first. That's what has to happen. But with this Biden administration, start remembering our own children. Start remembering the American taxpayer, and don't endanger us. Don't open up our refugee program again to countries who are hotbeds of terrorism, to bring in quadrupling the number of refugees from countries like Somalia, from Yemen, from Syria, where we know there have been terrorists that have exploited this program through the Obama administration and used taxpayer money to come in and set up cells of terrorism at taxpayer expense. It is incredible, but this is what the Biden administration has promised, and he's trying to live up to that promise. So I'm hoping that the American people will get this message. Thank you so much for getting it out, and I think there will be a day of reckoning in the midterms of 2022.
Congressman, we look forward then to 2022, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.